When evaluating why some companies succeed while others fail, researchers look for variables that predict performance. In resource-constrained environments, three intangible, human-centric traits account for nearly 90% of a firm's operational success. This is the integrated multiple regression model from a study of private enterprises in Thailand. At the bottom of Table 6, the model explains exactly 86.7% of the variance in managerial success. In organizational research, R-squared measures how much of a specific outcome can be explained by the variables tested. An 86.7% score indicates this combination has unusually high predictive power, leaving only a tiny fraction to unknown factors. That predictive power comes from just three variables acting in concert: leadership, teamwork, and organizational culture. The data indicates that in these specific business environments, these three human-centered systems explain almost the entire variation in how successfully a company is managed. To understand these results, we have to look at the source of the data. Researchers surveyed 400 employees working across private companies in the lower northern region of Thailand. These are regional, small, and medium-sized enterprises. They operate in volatile markets and face severe constraints on financial capital and technological resources. This creates a specific tension. How do firms lacking deep financial reserves or rigid bureaucratic systems consistently achieve a competitive advantage? We can analyze this through the resource-based view. This theoretical framework suggests that competitive advantage arises from internal resources that are rare and difficult for others to copy. The researchers posit that in the absence of structural capital, socially complex human resources function as structural equalizers. To understand this compensation effect, we need to deconstruct the regression models and see how each trait contributes to the final outcome. We begin with the first independent variable in the data: leadership. This table shows the regression analysis for leadership dimensions. Note the transformational leadership row, which carries a significant beta coefficient of 0.509. It carries nearly 4 times the predictive weight of general leadership characteristics, sitting at 0.127. According to the literature, this leadership style requires articulating a compelling vision, providing intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. These traits align with the specific socio-cultural context of Thailand, a society characterized by collectivism and an emphasis on relational harmony. In this regional environment, leadership legitimacy is often rooted in moral authority and interpersonal respect rather than technical administration alone. Transformational leadership serves as the baseline for success because it replaces formal managerial oversight with interpersonal respect and a shared sense of purpose. Leadership provides the vision, but teamwork provides the mechanism to translate that vision into coordinated action. Table 4 isolates the teamwork dimensions. The data confirms that team effectiveness is the most significant predictor in this category. The data shows a clear hierarchy. Team effectiveness, with a beta of 0.411, carries significantly higher weight than the specific way a team is structured, holding a beta of 0.238. Within a regional SME, employees often handle multifunctional roles across fluid, overlapping boundaries. High-functioning teams adapt to this by building shared mental models. They understand each other's roles intuitively, which increases decision speed and reduces communication errors. This collaborative capacity acts as a proxy for structural flexibility, allowing small firms to bypass the bureaucratic bottlenecks that can slow down larger competitors. Finally, we arrive at the most powerful variable in the dataset: organizational culture. Table 5 breaks down the individual subdimensions of culture. Note the work quality row, which carries the dominant standardized effect with a beta of 0.396. This indicates that performance-oriented cultural norms, specifically a focus on work quality, are the strongest internal drivers within the culture category. Returning to the integrated regression model to compare all three major variables together, we see their relative impact. Leadership is at 0.214. Teamwork at 0.318, but organizational culture emerges as the strongest predictor at 0.432. From the perspective of the resource-based view, culture serves as the invisible normative boundary. It dictates whether a leader's vision is actually executed and whether a team coordinates or fractures. In these regional enterprises, shared cultural norms regarding quality and accountability substitute for the expensive formal governance systems found in larger corporations. This flowchart illustrates the complete framework, showing how leadership, teamwork, and organizational culture flow into overall managerial success. The study demonstrates systemic interdependence. Leadership shapes team dynamics, teams operationalize strategy, and culture institutionalizes the norms for both. These variables create a sustainable competitive advantage precisely because they are socially complex. While a competitor can buy technology, they cannot easily copy a high-functioning internal culture. Managerial success in this context is the product of these three human-centered systems working as a synergistic whole. These academic findings provide a clear set of priorities for managers and consultants. Leadership development in regional markets should prioritize transformational and ethical competencies that align with local cultural values. Tangible structural capital and technology can be purchased, but true competitive resilience must be developed internally through human capital. Focusing on the 86.7% of variance governed by these human systems is the data-backed strategy for survival in resource-constrained environments.